I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Darcy, roll call, please.
Connell,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Geib is absent. Gilligan,
Here. Here.
Haldeman. Haldeman,
We have to unmute. Alicia, you have to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Here.
okay. Hudson
Here.
and Kreiser is absent. Patrick,
Here.
Putt.
Here.
Okay, next item on the agenda is board minutes. So at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of October 21st, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Putt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Fisher. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approval of treasurer's report. So I'll hand this over to Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report for October of 2021.
I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report for October 2021. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hudson. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into our president's report, and I have nothing to report this evening, so we'll move to visitor comments. We have Jerry Klee talking about control of speech and content. Mr. Klee, would you please say hi?
Hello.
Okay, Mr. Klee, you have the floor. You know you have 5 minutes, and
Yes. Thank you. First of all, at this time, my wife and I offer our sincere congratulations to those who gained the victory in the recent runs for the seat on the Palmyra Area School District's Board of Directors. We look forward to better understanding your vision for the future of the PASD. Today, I have some questions about Palmyra Area School District Board Director issues, PASD Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee issues, and issues of opacity and obfuscation, since there certainly appears to be some tension within the Palmyra Area School District concerning what, at any particular time, the residents of the district should have a right to publicly inquire about or comment on as to, among other things, how the public welfare is being impacted by the Palmyra Area School District. My first 3 questions are, number 1, here in November of 2021, if there is no official board representative to the PASD, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee, does that obligate or not obligate those committee members to cease and desist from all committee and or diversity, equity, and inclusion related work? Number 2, to the PASD board directors who were added to the board after August the 1st of this year, have any of you yet been fully brought up to speed, so to speak, about the PASD Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee by means of a detailed accounting of its authority, its discretionary power, its officially stated mission, its true efforts, and its actual accomplishments since its inception to the present? Number 3, once again, to the PASD board directors who were added to the board since August the 1st, have any of you truly ascertained whether or not all aspects of the crafting, the authorization, and the operation of the PASD Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee have indeed been and continue to be ethical, legitimate, and constitutional? My final 3 questions are, number 1, just exactly what should control what a PASD resident or taxpayer may not address at a particular PASD board meeting, and to what degree should those with authority within the PASD be able to control during any particular day what would or would not be granted a public platform from which to be heard? And while considering the question I just posed, please also consider the range of topics or subject matters that a district resident may want to address, and yet, for whatever the reason, may just happen to not make it onto a particular day's official board meeting agenda. Topics or subject matters such as the following: A, the possibility of corruption by one or more board directors, administrators, or professional staff employees of the PASD. B, the possibility of harm from the PASD, harm to individual freedom of speech rights. C, the possibility of harm from the PASD, harm to the public welfare as a result of PASD conduct. And D, the possibility of harm from the PASD, psychological or physical harm to one or more kindergarten through 12th grade students of the PASD. Number two, at this time, will someone in a position of PASD authority explain to the public whether or not the PASD has to date attempted to learn any applicable lessons from the 2021 facts associated with the Loudoun County Public School District treatment of Loudoun County, Virginia father Scott Smith, the violation of rights that occurred against this man's high school age daughter, the administrative command and control responsibility of this girl's Stonebridge High School, and the conduct of certain Loudoun County Public School District officials and employees during and after the sequence of events that were at issue. And if not, why not? And number three, at this time, will someone in a position of PASD authority provide the public with a comprehensive explanation as to why the word disclaimer is part of the proposed changes to PASD policy number 903. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Klee. And Mr. Klee, I assume you have a paper for us? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is curriculum.
Thank you, Mr. President. The curriculum committee last met on October 21st, 2021. The board reviewed the field trip for the 7th grade students to Bethel, Pennsylvania for outdoor education for the weeks of May 16th through the 20th and 2022 and May 23rd through the 27th, 2022, using outdoor education funds in preparation for a motion this evening at our board meeting following this minutes. Dr. Spagnuolo reviewed the board's Veterans Day activities, which were today. Dr. Spagnuolo reviewed with the board the current curriculum in CMAP and future plans to create year at glance for all subjects. There were no public comments. The meeting adjourned at 6:54 p.m. From that meeting, I have the following motion. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the field trip for 7th grade students to Bethel, PA for outdoor education the weeks of May 16th through the 20th, 2022, and May 23rd through the 27th, 2022, using the outdoor education funds.
I have a motion to approve the field trip for 7th grade students to Bethel, PA for outdoor education the weeks of May 16th through the 20th of 2022 and May 23rd through 27th, 2022, using outdoor education funds. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hudson. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And I don't know if we're addressing this anytime later this evening in our remainder of our meeting, but I would like to hear anything from Veterans Day today. Like to talk about anything from Veterans Day?
Sure. We had I was honestly at a curriculum meeting district-wide or IU-wide, so I wasn't able to attend any of them, but we do have several high school students went and videotaped at all the different levels, and we are prepared, hopefully at our next meeting, to bring back the video to share with everyone. But from what I heard from people that attended, Mrs. Gilligan was at the middle school and high school. Mr. Patrick presented at the middle school. Dr. Kepler was able to attend them, that they all went off very well. And we received some positive responses from parents at our elementary level when our principal sent out what we were doing at the elementary level with the story and then the setup, the table setup. So
I would say that our students left today with a better understanding and appreciation of our country's veterans. At the middle school, Mr. Patrick did a great job of talking to his experience in the Navy, talking to students about how to appreciate veterans. Had great fun interactions with the 8th grade group that I got to see him present to. And at a high school, fortunately, I didn't get to see a lot of the presentations, but we had a great panel of veterans and active military personnel presenting to our student body. So, and at the elementary, as Dr. Spagnuolo said, aware of some positive emails from parents, how excited some of their children were coming home and talking about the book that was read to them and their talk about our veterans. So to all our veterans out there, on behalf of the district, we thank you.
Took the words out of my mouth, Dr. Kepler.
Yeah, I mean, I just say, I think we had great attendance and great engagement from the students today at the middle school, all great. While Mr. Pujol had to cut me off a couple times, we had a lot of great questions, really interested in, what we did, where we went, what life was like out at sea. So it was, I really appreciated the engagement, they respectful the whole time from the video to the chorus, the orchestra playing too. So, kudos to the middle school team putting that together. For the students that really took the time to listen and be engaged.
My husband loved it. He had a really good time. I think the kids really seemed to enjoy it. They were attentive. They were listening. They asked good questions. We had 2 female officers, and they brought that perspective into it. The female part, one was actually one of the first to be integrated into the male and female basic training. She was like the first group of them. So that was interesting to hear. And I think he would be glad to do it again. And yeah, that they loved it. They had some good questions, and they all got to tell them where they all went and what they did and how they went from boot camp and everything. So it was good. It was good.
And this came about, just to remind our audience and everybody, that this came about from a conversation within our school board as to whether we should have off on Veterans Day versus have school on Veterans Day and then continue to educate. So as you know, last year with the COVID pandemic and the middle and high school going every other year and keeping kids 6 feet apart, we really weren't able to do anything last year. So this today's presentations was really a fruition from all of you and your interest in having our kids, learn additional knowledge about it. So thank you to our board for having those conversations.
Thank you very much. Thank you for putting everything together. Thank you for taking the time. I look forward to seeing the videos. I want to personally, and from my family and myself, thank all the veterans and for everything that they've done and everything they do now. So thank you very much. And with that, I will echo this president.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Putt. So we'll move on to staffing and administration. Ms. Gilligan.
Okay, our Staffing and Administration Committee met on October 21st. We went over the board second reading, recommended to approve the second reading of the following board policies: 006 meetings, 903 public participation in board meetings. We had no public comment except for Dave Bottomolic requested background information on Michael Frentz. The meeting adjourned at 7:11 p.m. and the next meeting will be November 11th via Zoom or motion to hereby re-elect Dr. Annette Spagnolo as Assistant Superintendent of the Palmyra Area School District for an additional 4-year term beginning on July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2026.
I have a motion to hereby re-elect Dr. Annette Spagnolo as Assistant Superintendent of the Palmyra Area School District for an additional 4-year term beginning on July 1st, 2022, ending on June 30th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Putt. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, hearing none, we have a roll call vote. Who's up first, Darcy?
Okay, then we'll begin with Mr. Kreiser, who is absent. So Patrick,
Yay.
Putt,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Guy, who is absent, Gilligan,
Yes.
Haldeman,
I'm going to say no. No offense to Annette, but I believe this should not be rushed through prior to a new board being sworn in.
and Hudson.
Yes.
Do I have 6 for, 1 against? Correct, Darcy?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. No, see, on the regular board.
Assistant Superintendent contract.
Yep.
And roll
You gotta,
call. Okay, motion to approve a written contract.
you did want to report.
Okay, motion to approve a written contract of employment agreement between Dr. Annette Spagnola and the Palmyra School District for the period commencing July 1st, 2020 and ending on June 30th, 2026.
I have a motion to approve a written contract of employment agreement between Dr. Annette Spagnolo and the Palmyra Area School District for the period commencing on July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hudson. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, hearing none, I assume, Darcy, this is, well, is this a roll call vote, Darcy?
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll begin with Mr. Patrick,
Yes.
Putt,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
the guy is absent, Gilligan,
Yes.
Haldeman,
No, again, just feeling this shouldn't be rushed through prior to the new board. I have some concerns of wording that was left out. I just don't want the new board to be strapped with another contract without the review. Thank you.
Hudson,
Yes.
and Kreiser is absent.
Okay, so by a vote of 6-1, the motion carries. Dina.
Board policy, second reading is a motion to approve the second reading of the following board policies. Policy 006 concerning meetings and 903 concerning public participation in board meetings.
So I have a motion to approve the second reading of board policies 006 and 903. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Putt. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Connell, it might be an appropriate time for me to share that moving forward at the next meeting, some changes based on public comment from the last meeting, that the intent would be for the administration to be able to post the recordings of our public meetings on the district website. So the official district version is accessible to the community, adding additional transparency for our board. And then additionally, having the community be able to access attachments to the voting meeting. When the agenda goes live, we're looking to roll out a new format that the community will have one link. They'll click on it. It will take them to the actual agenda manager system that you see displayed each night. And our community will be able to see the agenda items, the attachments, which again, I think is Mr. Kleinfelder commented a meeting ago, and that'll be a new addition. But stay tuned for next Thursday's meeting that we will be rolling that out on our website for our general public.
A motion to approve staffing and administration committee items as noted on the staffing and administration consent agenda, November 11th, 2021.
So I have a motion to approve staffing and administration committee items as noted on the staffing and administration consent agenda. Do I have a second? Second by Bud. Anything you want to go through?
Just simply some general hires. The speech and language is the additional part-time position that the board authorized 2 years ago when we did not have enough staffing to meet the IEP demands of our student body. So you see a per diem rate at 2.5 days per week. So that is budgeted and known. We've just been looking for that support position.
Is that per day then?
That is the per diem rate per day, yes. And you see the mentors for professional staff hires, some custodial resignation, custodial hire, and addition to our substitute list. So a brief list this meeting.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns?
We're still tracking reason for resignation to the extent we can get it
Yes.
in the sense of if it's compensation.
Not in this case, no, but in some cases, yes. Yeah, and frankly, the required overtime of custodians when we're short, trying to keep buildings clean. You know, custodians are staying after, trying to help in extra hours that they don't always want and appreciate. But so we're trying to work with them. I had a conversation with Mr. Gress just yesterday on, trying to come up with some options and ideas, so that the staff that don't want overtime aren't forced into it when we're short staffed, but yet maintain our facilities.
Any other further questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is communications.
There was one communication received to the board email that gets posted to the agenda. It's there for you.
Okay, if nothing else, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Bud. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Gilligan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Recording
Moving to our
stopped.
committee meetings. Okay, first is buildings and grounds. So the solar project.
I'll take this one. Please bear with my voice going in and out. This is a pretty big undertaking. At the last presentation, you authorized us to continue with development So we, accomplished a lot in the last month. I'm just going to give you a verbal update of what we got done. We have a meeting scheduled with the Recreation Commission representatives on Monday, as any development on that land affects them. The proposal that we received was reviewed by the district's financial advisor, Ken Phillips from RBC. He has experience in looking at these, and obviously the financing piece was important to receive comments from him. So he reviewed that, and I have had a meeting with him. We've received references, so that was recent, and we have yet to check references, but that's on our to-do list. We had a review of this with our energy, the consultant. School District Energy is the consultant we use for procurement of electricity, and they also have a lot of experience. So we had a meeting with them and received an alternate proposal. So we've got something to compare. And I reached out to a representative from the Hershey Company, had a telephone meeting with Matthew Crocker, and he gave us direction of next steps to proceed. Because of the deed and restrictions in the deed, we would need permission from Hershey Company. So he gave me some direction, which has been forwarded to the district solicitor. And Bob Frankhauser is working on a communication to send to the solicitor or to the attorneys at Hershey Company. So that's just a quick recap of what we've accomplished in the last month since you gave us authorization to develop this more fully.
Okay, any questions? Okay, we'll move on to vehicle replacement.
And can you pull Heath up? He'll be able to give you an update on that. Although this is one that locking in pricing right now with supply chain constraints is going to be tough.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Heath.
Yes, we're working with a vendor. His issue is he cannot give us a set price. As he said, prices are changing daily. The big issue is the box and the lift for that truck. He said those vendors will not lock anything in until you sign papers. So we are looking at a vehicle. He is still trying to get me a set price, come back to the board and say the maximum would be. The one benefit, if we could possibly lock in this year yet, would be we'd be locking in on Co-Stars, which is a bid from December of 2020 for 2021. So we would be locking at that rate, not the new rate that Co-Stars or any increases would see. He believes they will still lock us in up until, I think, the middle of December.
And the challenge, if I can add this correctly, Heath, so that would be for the truck. So potentially you could purchase the 2021 truck on bid numbers from December 2020, which is a good thing, but you may have a truck without a box and lift for a while until you can get that. So it's a kind of a catch-22 situation. So we're working to get pricing to bring back a recommendation to you.
Also, the truck itself, we may, even if we locked it in now, we may not get it until June or July because it may be sitting on a lot waiting for a computer chip.
Keith, any sense of the timing on the box and the lift?
The box and lift, if we locked in, we would get on their list, but once you lock in, they'll lock the price for you. But as of right now, he said materials are changing so fast. For them to make the boxes and the lifts and that, he said they're not willing to lock in because he said they're short in supplies. So first come, first serve. And he said if it increases, then your price would increase if you weren't locked in.
But just on the peripherals, just on the upfit. The price of the truck is locked, the price of the upfit is not locked.
Correct. Until you sign papers, if we sign and said we want the box and we want the lift and we sign for the truck, then at that point, they would lock the box and give us a set price.
So in other words, they're not ordering their material until we put pen on paper at that price they have that day.
Correct.
Yes.
Because the box and the lift,
I was on the phone for the last call. You indicated this is like a 20-year-old truck with how many miles on it?
I think there's 89,000, or there might be more now. It might be 90-some thousand now.
And this is the truck that delivers lunches to all of our schools.
Correct. The last year and a half, it's been running almost every day except Sundays. It also delivers the food when we were delivering to people, like the different buildings for the community to pick up.
Yep.
Yes. It also is used by the football team to go to all away games.
So is there a recommendation, Heath, that we should get locked in?
I would say the board should be looking at, if possible, locking in, if we can, in December, to lock the truck in. I mean, as far as the box and that, it may not be prudent. The only problem, if you lock a truck in, you are going to be probably getting a year-old truck till you get it.
I won't be here in December, but I would simply note, anyone who's driven by a car lot in the last 3 months knows there's nothing on them. So I'll be here in December, but certainly would make a recommendation that the future board consider that. This is a significant truck that has a pretty important value, delivering food to our kids every day.
Okay, anything else on the vehicle replacement?
We'll continue to bring forward a locked-in price, so the board in December is poised to consider.
And just a reminder that before we get to column D, if you have public comment, please raise your hand in Zoom. Natatorium study.
I am pleased to report that we sent the pool study to it's Site Logic now, but you will know the group as Reynolds, who we worked with throughout all of our renovations projects at the middle school, at Northside, and Forge through GISA projects, guaranteed energy savings agreements at significant savings to the district. They reviewed this, and by the very nature of the type of renovations we're looking at, it does qualify as a GISA amendment under our existing amendments. So they're taking it there. I believe even this week they had representatives out looking at the pool, and they expect to get back to us with some pricing within the next month or so of a fully developed GISA proposal. And that would be just for those of you new to those GISA projects, those are locked in. There are no change orders once you enter into that. And we certainly had a good track record working with them in the past. So I'm pleased that that's an option to get some pricing for this.
And Darcy, Heath, and I made it very clear on what the priorities would be, that on the mechanical systems, safety measures, and aesthetic related items as secondary, is making sure that we can at least try to maintain that our natatorium as a functioning pool as our first priority. So,
yeah, and those for those of you who have been involved in those GISA projects before, you'll remember that we had lists and we were able to pick and choose and pull things on or off there based on pricing.
Question I have on the top of the first item we had on there, though, around the chlorination system. I know we were trying to use existing funds to do that. Has that project already been started there? Because we got a guy going down with the oxygen mask on.
Yeah. And Heath, if you want to talk about, the answer is no, it hasn't been started yet. Heath, if you want to address that at all?
Yes, there was the company that did the original study. They are coming back hopefully in the next week or two here with a full recommendation plus pricing and availability of equipment to get that tank moved outside and replumb all the piping.
So I mean, just for the board members gonna be here when that comes back, I mean, we have a guy going down with the gas and with a oxygen tank to some extent. So actually do maintenance and stuff down there. It's a major safety issue.
Agreed.
I'm curious, Darcy, certainly if this qualifies as a GISA, what is the savings estimates based on a systems upgrade, mechanical systems upgrade?
I wouldn't know what, I just am referring to the past projects that we did through GISA, where we had savings in comparison to not, a traditional project.
Yeah. My
So-
assumption is in the amendment that they would bring to us, they would give us those numbers, right?
Right.
They have to, right?
Correct,
Yeah, so you don't have that yet.
correct.
So
No,
just for the sake of everyone who doesn't know that, I mean, there would be a required savings number they would have to hit through the upgrades.
Or we're guaranteed it,
Right.
hence the guaranteed energy savings.
That's great news that project can be done this way. So I hope the future board will consider the full scope of that project if it can guarantee us some savings. That is a very efficient way to complete these major construction projects.
absolutely. You don't have all that middleman, architect, engineer involved. It's a design build concept. And this isn't a huge project, so there are a lot of efficiencies there. And I think the beauty of this also is that we paid $12,000 for this natatorium study, and so we do have another party that gave us estimates. So that certainly gives us some parameters that we know what we're looking for in this pricing.
Great news.
Okay, next item is parking lots.
Heath, do you want to take this one as well?
Yes, I did go through all three contracts that they sent us and made a spreadsheet of what was included, what wasn't included. Out of the three contracts, what seemed to be not included in one of the contracts was core drilling. I then went out to three different blacktop vendors, meaning they're actually guys that are putting the blacktop down, such as places like Pensy and BR Kreider Blacktop. Actually, they came out and walked the parking lot with me, had a lot of good things. Their comment was the only time they do core drilling is if they see that there's big sinkholes in the soft spots in the blacktop, or it's used by the state to verify that they're getting the proper compaction and amount of blacktop that was specified in the project. And that's usually the core done after the project's done, he said. I still wanted to compare stuff, so I did go out and get a price from the low engineer as to what he would charge to do the same amount of core drilling. And he did provide that. I don't have that with me right now. I left it on my desk at work. But I believe it was right around $5,000 or $6,000 to do those cores. So that's kind of where we're at right at this point. We do have a list of things that we can send back out to each of the engineering firms to give us another shot at this and see if they come back with the same numbers so that everybody's actually exactly bidding on what was on that list. That would be something that once the board sees that, if they wish us to do that, we will send that out to all the engineers again.
Okay, any other questions about parking lots? Thanks, Keith. Okay, with that, I have nobody that raised their hands, so we'll move on to the next one. Next one on the agenda is finance.
Thank you very much. Looks like we have one agenda item this evening, which is budgetary transfers.
And these are the final budgetary transfers. We've completed the audit field work with Boyer and Ritter. So as is required, we're required to prepare a list of budgetary transfers for board motion, that anywhere that we have unfavorable variances, we transfer money from accounts where we have favorable variances. Last year, as we've noted before, was certainly an unusual year. Overall, we exceeded the general fund budget by $1,857,418. So we don't have favorable variances to transfer to cover those, so that it will show an unfavorable variance from budget. On the expenditure side, when our audit report is released, we also had revenue line items that came in substantially over budget that more than offset that unfavorable variance. So when we get that final report, you will see that revenues did exceed expenditures. The main areas where we were over budget, health insurance, we're self-insured. Claims for health insurance exceeded budget. This would be the second year where we've seen an uptick compared to what the trend has been in large claims. I'm following that closely so far this year. With the 4 months of data that we have, it's not a lot of data, but I'm optimistic that I am seeing those claims, and the number of high cost claimants has dropped a bit this year. So I'm hoping the adage that we typically hear from consultants is true for us, that, you know, out of every 5 to 7 years, you're going to have a bad year or two, and we'll hope to settle back into what a new trend is. Although I certainly know that throughout the markets, there's a lot of uncertainty about what'll happen with cost of medical claims. The other two areas where we had large unfavorable variances were both ones we mentioned frequently throughout the year, and that was the cost of with an increase of about 200 enrollment in our in-house Cougar Academy during last year. Those costs were over budget, and then also, of course, cyber charter tuition with an increase in enrollment there as well.
Okay, with that, don't see anybody that raised their hand. But, any questions from anybody on board? Okay, so I don't have any hands raised, so we'll go on to the next agenda item, which is second administration. The only item on there is public comment. So with that, we'll close staffing and administration, close our committees. We'll move into executive session. Alicia, is 5 minutes okay? And then we'll join back in 5 minutes. So I have 6:46, so we'll join back at 6:51. Okay, with that